Good evening, I'm Prasad, and this is KiniNews. Some of us woke up early today, but not as early as Caretaker Kedah Menteri Besar, Muhammad Sanusi. He received a wee-hour wake-up call from the police and found himself in the hot seat at the Selayang Sessions Court, juggling not one, but two sizzling charges tied to his July 11th ceramah.
Caretaker Kedah Menteri Besar Muhammad Sanusi Md Nor appeared before the Sessions Court in Selayang today to face two charges related to his ceramah on July 11.
Nampaknya di Malaysia ni tak boleh cakap apa tuan-tuan. Kalau di medan politik, biasanya orang selesaikan masalah politik di medan politik memberikan hujah balas kepada argumen atau ucapan ataupun hujahan kita. Tetapi di Malaysia pada hari ini kerana kita ada kerajaan yang takut, dia guna polis untuk tahan ataupun sekat ucapan-ucapan kita. Nampaknya ahli-ahli politik ini telah bankrupt menggunakan pihak berkuasa untuk menyekat kemarahan rakyat. Saya harap ini adalah satu petunjuk ataupun petanda bahawa mereka sebenarnya sedang ketakutan dan segala aparatus negara, agensi-agensi awam akan digunakan untuk menyekat perkembangan kehangatan rakyat ni.
Sanusi is accused of uttering words with the potential to incite disloyalty towards a ruler in both charges. Specifically, the first charge cites his declaration that the Kedah Sultanate is the only one in the country with an uninterrupted lineage and that the Kedah ruler will not have chosen Selangor's incumbent Menteri Besar Amiruddin Shari to lead the state's administration. The second charge claims that Sanusi questioned whether the young Di-Pertuan Agong had genuinely decreed the formation of a unity government following last November's parliamentary election. This alleged offence, which took place around 11 p.m. in Taman Selayang Mutiara, Selangor, falls under Section 41A, which criminalises acts with a seditious tendency. If convicted, Sanusi could face a sentence of up to 3 years in prison, a fine of up to 5,000 ringgit, or both for each offence. Judges Nur Raja Mat Zain and Osman Afendi Muhammad Saleh presided over the respective charges. After pleading not guilty to both charges, Sanusi was required to post a 5,000 ringgit bail for each charge. Both judges approved the prosecutor's request for a gag order on Sanusi, prohibiting him from discussing the trial publicly. The pre-trial proceedings for both cases are scheduled for October 4th. While being brought to the courtroom, Sanusi was not handcuffed, a privilege not typically afforded to most detainees. Sanusi was arrested at 3 a.m. earlier today in the Klang Valley, according to a video uploaded to his political secretary, Helmi Khalid's Facebook page. The post alleged that around 20 police officers approached Sanusi's hotel room at 2:30 a.m., taking him to the Gombak district police stations by 3 a.m.
Despite making an early bird appearance at the Selayang Sessions Court, Pendang MP Awang Hashim and his entourage may not have received the welcome they were hoping for. He, along with several supporters who arrived at the entrance, were not granted entry by the police. When met by reporters, the past lawmakers said that legal action taken against Sanusi should serve as a lesson for all Malaysians. The Central Past Committee members said all parties should learn from the incident. Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim set the record straight on the Sedition Act, arguing its use against Sanusi was a royal necessity and not a political ploy amidst a wave of criticism.
Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim asserted that the use of the Sedition Act against Caretaker Kedah Menteri Besar Muhammad Sanusi Md Nor was necessitated due to the comments made about the rulers.
Saya dari segi dasarnya kita elak dari penggunaan akta sultan. Tapi yang ini boleh menyentuh kedudukan raja-raja. Soal kritik Perdana Menteri saya tak pernah gunakan itu sebagai satu alasan. Tapi ini soal kedudukan dan martabat raja-raja yang harus kita pelihara dan sanjung dan elak daripada menjadi suatu wacana perbahasan politik yang tidak sihat.
The Pakatan Harapan leader made these remarks in Sekinchan, Selangor, responding to criticisms over the application of a law that his coalition had previously opposed. Nevertheless, Anwar refrained from commenting on Sanusi's 3 a.m. arrest, merely noting that the caretaker Menteri Besar's apprehension resulted from diligent police surveillance. Sanusi's pre-dawn arrest has not only raised eyebrows among critics, but also within Harapan's own ranks. PKR's Bayan Baru MP Simza Zin argued that the past leader was not a flight risk and called for a review of the police's standard operating procedure relating to suspect arrests. Sanusi, who is also the Perikatan National Election Director, was apprehended in a Kuala Lumpur hotel.
Putrajaya now finds itself under the legal magnifying glass as experts challenge the invocation of the hotly debated Sedition Act against Sanusi, a move they argue is not just ironic but harmful to freedom of speech.
Putrajaya is facing severe criticism from legal experts for invoking the controversial Sedition Act against the Caretaker Kedah Menteri Besar Muhammad Sanusi Md Nor. The Sedition Act has long been a point of contention for the component parties of Pakatan Harapan due to its ambiguously defined provisions. In their 2020 parliamentary election manifesto, Harapan promised to review or repeal the act. Lawyers for Liberty Executive Director Zaid Malik expressed his dismay over the government's move to charge Sanusi, labeling it as a stark departure from Harapan's previous stance. He noted that Anwar Ibrahim, the leader of Harapan, had once condemned the act due to its potential for misuse. Describing the day as a grim milestone, Zaid criticized the resurrection of the notorious Sedition Act to target a prominent political adversary. He contended that the Harapan leadership's opposition to the act seemed hypocritical, as they now seemed willing to wield it in their favor. Zaid argued that the charges against Sanusi undermine free political discourse and infringe upon the freedom of speech enshrined in Article 10(1)(a) of the Federal Constitution. He described the Sedition Act as an outdated legal artifact, a vestige of a notorious colonial law that most Commonwealth countries have already discarded. Ambiga Srinivasan, a former president of the Bar Council, echoed Zaid's sentiments. She described the implementation of the Sedition Act as utterly unacceptable and contrary to the principles of Malaysia that many have fought for. She reiterated that the act must be abolished. Anwar's former lawyer N. Surendran, who was once facing trial for sedition between 2014 and 2018, also expressed disappointment with the latest developments.
Unshaken by the recent charges, Perikatan Nasional clings to its election director, Sanusi. This was communicated by past Deputy President Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man, who assured that the charges against Sanusi will not affect the PN election campaign. He also said Sanusi will be retained because much preparation has been completed. Tuan Ibrahim further explained that PN will maintain their strategy with an approach that exposes the failures of the Pakatan Harapan BN government in the states they currently govern, Selangor, Negeri Sembilan and Pulau Pinang. In a bold move, Ahmad Mazlan urges his fellow Umno members to swap their traditional apprehension for adaptability, suggesting a new perspective on DAP amidst the changing currents of Malaysia's political tides. Umno members must adapt to the party's evolving political landscape, urged Ahmad Mazlan. He appealed to party grassroots to relinquish their apprehension of the DAP during a town hall event last night. Ahmad, an Umno Supreme Council member, pointed out that the DAP has recognized Islam as the Federation of Malaysia's official religion and acknowledged the special status of Malays in the nation, among other things. Ahmad further asserted that the Pakatan Harapan component party now resembles the BN component party MCA and their former partner Gerakan. He said DAP, MCA and Gerakan are fundamentally Chinese-based parties.
Apa lagi beza mereka? Gerakan tak ada satu kerusi pun menang. pada PRU yang ke-15 untuk Parlimen. MCA menang 2 kerusi, satu di Air Hitam, satu di Tanjung Piai sebelah Pontian. DAP dapat 40 kerusi, tuan-tuan. 40 kerusi. Sejak tahun 2008, masyarakat Cina mula memilih DAP.
In the 2018 general election, nearly 95% of Chinese voters cast their ballots for DAP, leaving a meager 5% for MCA. Ahmad said in light of these shifting political dynamics, they cannot afford to maintain a closed mindset regarding DAP. The Deputy Finance Minister's comments were made during his participation as a panelist at a town hall program organised by the Kota Raja Umno division. In a fiery plea of transparency, MP Wong Kah-Wah is urging the MACC to untangle the potential knotted threads of a multi-million ringgit vehicle fleet concession awarded during Muhyiddin Yassin's reign.
Taiping MP Wong Kah-Wah has called on the MACC to probe the awarding of a lucrative vehicle fleet concession during Muhyiddin Yassin's tenure, which is now facing a legal challenge. Wong, a former chair of the Public Accounts Committee, suggested that allegations raised by Berjaya Group founder Vincent Tan indicated potential breaches of government tender procedures under Muhyiddin's administration. He urged the MACC to swiftly investigate, highlighting several areas of concern, including the reasons for cancelling the letter of intent in 2020 and the justification for awarding the contract to Spanco at a significantly higher cost. Wong further questioned why the decisions made by the tender committee and the government's stance on the tender process in 2019 were not honoured. Yesterday, Tan held a press conference stating that a consortium formed by Berjaya Group and Neza Group had been chosen to manage the fleet concession based on a letter issued in 2018. The contract, according to the New Straits Times, would involve approximately 12,500 vehicles, yielding an estimated annual revenue of 300 million ringgit from the 5th year onwards. Tan claimed that the Neza Berjaya consortium had secured the contract by submitting the lowest bid and receiving the LOI from the Finance Ministry. However, following a government shift and Muhyiddin's ascension to Prime Minister, the LOI was rescinded and the tender awarded to Spanco at an additional cost of 700 million ringgit, he alleged. Tan has since initiated legal proceedings against the Finance Ministry and Spanco, expressing hope for a positive court ruling.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad. Thank you for watching.